My name is Ingmar Klaasen and welcome to another edition of Light Talk. Today we have special guests all the way from Sweden, Anders and Kjell. And with me here is Ingmar. We are from the Lighting Design of Things platform. And that's how we met these two gentlemen. And we would like to introduce you to them and have a bit of a chat to understand who are these people that we are working with lately. So Anders and Kjell, please introduce yourself. Tell me a bit about your backgrounds.
Anders, you first.
Okay. Hi, guys. My name is Anders, as Martin said, and I'm, of course, living here in Sweden right now. My background is not within the lighting industry. It's a general industry. I've been working within mining, within industrial business and everything like that. And my background commercial is that I've been working as CEO for small companies and bigger companies and have started a few companies myself. So I love this business development part of the business.
You're the business part, yeah.
And so I'm Kjell Svensson. I'm an engineer by heart and by background. I've been working in several of the bigger companies here in Sweden and Scandinavia, Ericsson and Volvo, for example. I've been an engineering manager at Ericsson for quite a few years, and about 20 years ago, we started working in an area which nowadays is called IoT. So I have a long background coming from that side, but not from lighting. I came from telecoms and that area.
So like you said, you're not lighting people. So what brought you to develop the Dager concept? Tell us a bit about what the Dager concept is and how you came to do this.
Yep. So lately, the last 10 years, we have been working quite a lot with an IoT system for medtech, for medical use. We were collecting, for example, glucose meter readings and insulin pump settings and so on from the different medtech devices. And we were collecting them into a database, and we were making that data available to different people involved in that data handling. It could be the patient itself, it could be the caregiver and various other entities. So we made an exit in that company a few years ago, and then we started looking around where we have quite a lot of knowledge in setting up these systems. What other industries are there that could be interested to work on? And we found that the lighting industry is so far, they are at the stage where they are very interested in IoT and these things, but there are still quite lots of ground to be broken, which is already broken in other industries. So I think we are trying to bring in our IoT background into this area now, and we are trying to speedily learn about the lighting parts of it.
The interesting thing is that you sort of liken the concept to what you can do with Spotify, right? So instead of a loudspeaker, we have a light speaker, and then we stream lighting through the so-called light speaker. So that's the interesting idea, and that's also what triggered us to respond to you, because wow, that's a really interesting concept. But obviously, you realized that concept needed input from lighting people. So our question really was, how did you come to us? Because we didn't know you, you didn't really know us.
No.
So tell us how that happened.
So we were, we realized that we are not really producing good lighting is not only about doing it in the technical sense. It's also there is also an artistical sense, or there is understanding about the needs for the people who is consuming the lights. We realized that, but we also realized that we didn't really have the answers there. We are not experts in that area. So we have been traveling around a little bit and visiting some different trade fairs. And we were in Dubai the last year, and we happened to be listening to your talk there. And we realized that, okay, this man is talking about IoT and lighting. He has a good understanding of both these sides. This is the kind of knowledge that we are currently lacking. So we thought that, hey, we should reach out there and see if we could talk to this man and see if we can do some kind of partnership here.
Because the interesting thing is that we actually didn't speak in Dubai. No. I think you were trying to reach out, but I was somehow busy with other people. So you only contacted us later.
Then I went for a cup of coffee, and I thought I should come back later, and then you were gone.
Yeah, these can be quite hectic, these kind of things. So, but when you did approach us, Ingmar and I had a discussion, and we thought, oh, wow, this is really interesting. What did you think about it when you first heard about this concept?
Oh, I thought it was really interesting. I mean, I thought, wow, how come nobody else thought about this before? How come we didn't think about this before? But I think the potential for streaming lighting is endless, and I think it intrigued our interest so much that we, of course, now we're trying to work together with you to make it a better concept. So to bring together, like you were probably explaining in Dubai, bring together the lighting element and the IoT element.
Yeah, it fits together.
You
perfectly.
guys have the IoT element.
Yeah.
So it's brilliant.
Yeah, no, it fits together, and fits totally also within our ideas on bringing together services and systems that can be integrated inside lighting. So it's a perfect match. So now that we have been working on this already for quite a while, quite a number of months, what are the challenges that we sort of brought up to you? Because obviously, when you started this, you didn't have a lot of knowledge about lighting. You do have some knowledge about lighting, by the way. I have to give you that. You studied it, obviously, so you do know the difference between color temperature and color rendering.
I studied hard and fast.
We're learning, by the way.
Yeah. But I think what would be interesting to hear from you is what it is that we have been able to bring to the party by working together with you, because obviously there have been challenges on the way. And I think we sort of shifted a little bit from your earlier thinking to where we are today. Can you elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, that's a good question. To start with, as you said, the question, what challenge have you brought up? I would see it the other way around. It's not challenges, it's possibilities. Because as we were talking, as you were saying, a little bit about Spotify, and we are good, very good, I say, at the IoT part, at the system to handle it, to handle the streaming of light. But we are not so very good in neither producing the light or seeing all the possibilities within the lighting industry. In our discussion, we have not only learned about lighting, but also about possibilities. How can this system be used? In what context can it be used? Together with other solutions and things like that. So the concept and the possibilities is developing for each of our discussions.
Yep.
That's correct. Yeah. We see that also.
So every time we discuss, we see that there are new scenarios that this could be used for, and then probably in a little bit different way than we thought from the beginning. So we came up with, in the beginning, we came up with the idea that we should collect light from different places and being able to stream it, so that you can have kind of like a world radio of lights. And that is maybe a good idea in many senses, but there are many other ideas that we've come up with lately that is much better, I think. And that's something we wouldn't have come up with them ourselves, because we don't really understand the use cases. We don't we don't know much enough about how people are consuming lights.
Yeah, I think one of the things is also that even though live streaming is an interesting concept, in the end, it's also the idea of a live stream where you have sort of a controlled environment. When you're outdoors, or you try to bring the outdoors inside, the parameters are a bit different. People experience that slightly different.
I mean, I was going to say as well, like how is it different than what's already out there in the marketplace? Because you've already, got tunable white, and you can do daylight scenarios and have recorded situations. But how is what the Dager is doing different than what's already out there?
So what most of these systems that are today controlled are doing is that they have made some kind of table or some kind of representation on how the light is changing over time. And normally it is over a relatively long time. So for example, circadian lighting is a description of how the light is changing over a day, over 24 hours normally. The thing is that the light in nature is changing much faster. That there is glittering and there is shadows moving when a cloud is passing by and so on.
Yeah.
And describing that in kind of mathematical terms, that is possible, but it's hard. it's kind of making music without playing a violin. You can make a synthesized violin, of course, but it will be more flat. It will be more, it would feel more artificial. And we are kind of skipping that step of figuring out how. We are kind of listening to the nature. So we go out and we kind of record light as it is. But as you say also, we have found in practice that even though it's fully possible to do live stream, it's normally not the kind of output that we get from that we think is the best. We do see that there is some editing needed in many cases for it to be better or more enjoyable light. And I would say that is the same kind of thing that you experience when you are live recording audio. So if you're recording a rock concert or something, most of them are edited afterwards. They are removing some noise and they are adding some. So the editing thing is something that we think is in most cases.
That's really what we felt also. We have one sample here with which we have been playing around with, and that part, the editing and understanding which part of the daylight is interesting to really reproduce and which part may be a bit more difficult or challenging. That's part of the user experience that you go through, and that we're trying to fine tune with you right now. It's quite exciting, I have to say.
We are for sure learning about that still. So we are experimenting a lot on how to record, but also then to blend or mix make a good editing so that we get good lighting output.
But from a user point of view, you're getting back to what we are doing together. Just to have, as you said, I have one of these Dager at home and I'm playing around with it. I have my own outside light inside. But at the night, I just love turning on the sunset in Perth, which you have recorded on my light. And that's fantastic.
It is so. So we have been talking to you as designers, right? As specialist consultants, but we also have had a couple of discussions with manufacturers, with lighting manufacturers. Now, there's obviously one industry, which is the service industry, which we'll come back to later. But now we're also trying to sort of go into discussion with the lighting manufacturing world. Which brings a whole set of new challenges again, because then you have the integration. You basically provide a black box, let's put it that way, that converts the outdoor daylight signal into a conversion. A video stream that is converted into an LED light output. So what is your feeling so far from having spoken to a few of those manufacturers out there that are interested in this system? Were you surprised the way they were reacting, or is it what you had expected? How do you see that interaction with the lighting industry?
Well, to be real honest, I think that I was surprised how positive these guys are. I would think that there would be some kind of interest because it's a new technology and things like that. But when we get the answer that this is what our customers are asking us for from the supplier side, our customers are asking this, but there is no system like this in the world. And if you can do this, we really want it, and we want to start to producing and things like that. So I think the reaction so far is even much better than we ever thought.
Yeah, oh, that's great to hear. I think we have a couple of exciting pilots ahead of us that will help us to better understand that interaction with the lighting industry. But on the other hand, one of your key drivers is providing a service, right? So we are moving in this world from products to services. Are there any features that you think should be in that service provision that we can still extrapolate or expand on how we can make that even better?
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. So when we came up with this concept, we immediately said that we will not be product focused. We are service focused. So we are trying to break out lighting as a service. We try to make that happen. And I think when there are functions available to delivering lighting as a service, then there are all these other functions that could go on top of that. So what we want to do is enable that there are many functions that are gaining from being sold or handled as a service. And for example, that is sensor data in the generic sense. So of course, if you have a link that we will require a link to some kind of server somewhere on the internet to provide this light stream. And this link is relatively cheap, but anyway, there is some kind of investment made to have that link. And while you have it, then you can hand over all the other data more or less for free. And that is kind of the things that are enabling very many different IoT businesses.
So this is basically a subscription service, right?
So our idea is to have that, yes. So kind of like Spotify. So we will not sell any equipment. We will work together with lighting manufacturers. They should sell the equipment just as usual. So they make the speakers, we make the Spotify streaming service, and there might be other parties who are also producing the music. So the content to be delivered is also something we envision others to play a role in.
So it doesn't really matter so much what kind of light fitting you're using. It can all be used for the same concepts.
Well, as long as they have the RGB wide tunable components. Yeah.
What we found is that the better quality you have of the LEDs, the better the output will be. So we have seen a very clear correspondence there.
And I suppose,
for example, we can send a light stream, for example, to Philips Hue devices, the standard lamps there, and they are using the Zigbee protocol for that, and we can send out on that. But to be able to experience or to produce shadows effects like in a room, subtle shadow effects, you will have relatively many LEDs or
correct. Yes. You need a bit of a critical mass to be able to do that.
So therefore, we typically envision there to be light panels or longer fixtures, which can have an array of LEDs that we can control individually. That's where our technology makes the most.
We're working on that.
We're working on that. Sure.
We're working on that. Guys, it's really interesting. I think we are super excited to see how this develops, and it does take time to do it properly. We do realize that. But we see many opportunities to bring this to a very successful stage that we can use in many interesting applications. So for that, we're very excited and we're looking forward. So you both seem to me like very entrepreneurial and very creative minds, always on the lookout for something new. So once we have given birth to this Dager concept, is there anything else that you're already looking forward to develop, or is that top secret?
What's next for Anders and Kjell?
Well, to start with, I think there's so much more after giving birth to the Dager. There's so much more to work with within the Dager concept, to develop it further together with you guys and to commercialize it and to make sure that it takes the place it deserves. Because I think this is a very good idea that could take a very big part in the market. So there, of course, we will put a lot of time, and after that, who knows what will happen.
Well, something to look forward to, specifically in this pandemic times. I think it's always nice to look forward to the future.
It is.
All right. Well, thank you very much for this interview, and we'll go back to work together.
Let's do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
See you.